Did you know what you eat before bed after age 65 could literally affect whether you wake up the next morning? Dr. Susan Mitchell has been sounding this alarm after reviewing thousands of cardiac cases. Last month, she shared the story of Robert, a healthy and active 78-year-old from Michigan who passed away in his sleep. The shocking cause? His seemingly innocent bedtime snack. After decades of research, cardiologists have identified 8 specific foods that can trigger dangerous cardiovascular events during sleep for adults over 65. But Dr. Mitchell emphasizes this isn't about fear. It's about empowerment through knowledge. The good news? Simple swaps can dramatically reduce your risk overnight. She's gathered the latest research from Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins, and Harvard Medical School to create practical solutions you can implement tonight. These aren't complicated lifestyle overhauls, just smart choices before bedtime. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city in the comments below and hit that like button if you're committed to protecting your heart tonight. Now, let's start with the most dangerous food on our list. The one directly linked to nighttime heart attacks. 1. The deadly number 3, processed meats. Let's talk about the most dangerous bedtime food on our list, one that cardiologists at Johns Hopkins have directly linked to nighttime heart attacks. I'm talking about processed meats like bacon, salami, hot dogs, and deli meats that might be sitting in your refrigerator right now. Remember Robert, our 78-year-old from Michigan? His evening routine seemed harmless. A few slices of salami with crackers while watching the late news. His wife shared that he'd done this for years without concern. But the autopsy revealed elevated nitrate levels that had triggered that fatal midnight heart attack. His cardiologist confirmed what the family couldn't believe, that bedtime salami had created the perfect storm in his cardiovascular system. But why are these meats so dangerous, especially at night? Dr. Michael Miller, Director of Preventive Cardiology at the University of Maryland Medical Center, explains it clearly. The nitrates and preservatives in processed meats convert to compounds called nitrosamines in your body. These compounds dramatically increase inflammation and oxidative stress on your cardiovascular system. And this stress peaks during sleep hours. What makes this particularly dangerous for those of us over 65 is that our natural anti-inflammatory defenses are already lower at night. Our bodies are designed to repair during sleep, but the chemical preservatives in these meats work against that natural healing process, creating what Dr. Miller calls the perfect cardiovascular storm. I know giving up that convenient bedtime snack isn't easy. When my own father turned 70, he struggled to replace his beloved evening pepperoni. We worked together to find satisfying alternatives that didn't increase his risk. His favorite replacement became a small portion of roasted chicken breast with a sprinkle of herbs. Within weeks, his nighttime heart palpitations, something he hadn't even connected to his snacking, disappeared completely. Other good alternatives include a hard-boiled egg with a dash of turmeric, a small portion of fresh roasted turkey, not deli meat, or even a quarter cup of unsalted nuts. The key is choosing proteins without those dangerous nitrates and excessive sodium. I'm curious. Do you have processed meats in your refrigerator right now? Have you ever experienced heart palpitations or disrupted sleep after enjoying them in the evening? This awareness could literally save your life tonight. 2. High-sodium packaged snacks. Now that we understand the danger of nitrates in processed meats, let's talk about another bedtime risk hiding in your pantry. High-sodium packaged snacks like crackers, chips, and pretzels. These convenient munchies might seem harmless, but they're creating the perfect conditions for a nighttime health crisis. Barbara, a vibrant 75-year-old grandmother from Illinois, discovered this the hard way. For years, she enjoyed her evening routine of packaged crackers while watching her favorite shows. They were whole grain, she told me, so I thought they were healthy. Like many of us, she didn't realize that even healthy crackers can pack a dangerous sodium punch before bedtime. Barbara's wake-up call came during a routine doctor's visit. Her physician had her wear a 24-hour blood pressure monitor, and the results were alarming. Between 2 and 4 a.m., her blood pressure would surge to stroke levels. My doctor was shocked, Barbara recalled. He asked immediately about my evening eating habits. Once she eliminated those bedtime crackers, her nighttime readings normalized within days. The science behind this is fascinating. Researchers at the American College of Cardiology have found that high-sodium snacks consumed within 3 hours of bedtime can raise nighttime blood pressure by up to 15 points in seniors. Dr. Wilbert Aronow, a geriatric cardiologist I've worked with, explains that our blood pressure regulation system is already most compromised during sleep. When you add a sodium load before bed, you're essentially challenging your cardiovascular system during its most vulnerable hours. I remember visiting my aunt last summer and noticing her evening habit of snacking on packaged popcorn. We checked the label together. One serving contained nearly 30% of her daily sodium recommendation. We switched her to cucumber slices with a sprinkle of lemon pepper and unsalted air-popped popcorn with a touch of olive oil and herbs. I never realized how much more refreshed I could feel in the morning, she told me after just 1 week of changes. If you love that satisfying crunch before bed, try sliced apples with a touch of cinnamon, carrot sticks with a small amount of hummus, or celery with a teaspoon of unsalted almond butter. Your heart will thank you, and you'll likely wake up feeling more refreshed and less puffy around your ankles and eyes. What's your go-to evening snack? Have you checked its sodium content lately? That small label reading habit could be your first step toward safer sleep. 3. Processed cheese and high-sodium dairy. Let's move on to something many of us enjoy before bed without a second thought. Processed cheese and high-sodium dairy products. That innocent-looking slice of American cheese on your evening crackers could be setting you up for a midnight emergency. Elizabeth, a retired teacher from Oregon, experienced this firsthand at age 67. I've always been health conscious, she told me over coffee last month. I walked daily, maintained a healthy weight, and thought my bedtime snack of cheese and crackers was perfectly fine. What Elizabeth didn't realize was that her seemingly innocent snack was causing dangerous fluid retention that peaked during her sleep. She discovered this connection after waking up gasping for air at 2 a.m., frightened and confused. After several episodes, her cardiologist identified the culprit, the processed cheese slices she enjoyed each evening. The combination of high sodium and saturated fats was causing fluid to accumulate in her lungs during sleep. Dr. Richard Stein from the American Heart Association explains why this happens. Processed cheese products can contain up to 400 milligrams of sodium in a single slice. That's more than some fast food items. When consumed before bed, this sodium causes your body to retain water. Meanwhile, the saturated fats contribute to inflammation. During sleep, when you're lying flat and your heart rate naturally slows, this retained fluid can shift into your lungs and around your heart, creating dangerous pressure. The good news is that Elizabeth found delicious alternatives. I switched to a small slice of fresh mozzarella, which has about a quarter of the sodium, or sometimes a tablespoon of ricotta with a drizzle of honey, she shared. Within 2 weeks, my nighttime breathing problems vanished completely. When shopping for bedtime-friendly dairy options, I always teach my patients to look beyond the front of the package. Words like natural or organic don't necessarily mean low sodium. Instead, flip to the nutrition panel and look for options with less than 140 milligrams of sodium per serving. fresh mozzarella, ricotta, and cottage cheese labeled "no salt added" are excellent choices. My sister-in-law Mary loves cheese too much to give it up entirely, so she developed what she calls her cheese rules, enjoying stronger flavored cheeses like sharp cheddar, but in much smaller portions, about the size of 2 dice, and never within 3 hours of bedtime. This simple timing change made a remarkable difference in her morning puffiness and energy levels. Have you noticed any connection between dairy consumption and how you feel the next morning? Many of us miss these subtle signals our bodies send us. 4. High-sugar cereals and desserts. That sweet bedtime treat might seem like the perfect way to end your day, but could it be triggering dangerous blood sugar swings while you sleep? Research from the Mayo Clinic Sleep Center suggests the answer is yes, especially for those of us over 65. Raymond's story illustrates this perfectly. At 71, this retired Florida postal worker prided himself on his good health. "I walked 5 days a week and had perfect checkups," he told me. His one indulgence? A bowl of sweetened cereal before bed. "I thought it was better than cookies or cake," he explained. Then his doctor suggested he wear a continuous glucose monitor for a week, and the results were shocking. The data revealed that Raymond's blood sugar would spike to diabetic levels within an hour of his sugary cereal, then plummet dangerously low around 3 a.m. A pattern that puts extreme stress on the cardiovascular system. Dr. Verend Summers from Mayo Clinic explained to Raymond that these dramatic fluctuations trigger stress hormones and inflammatory responses, creating ideal conditions for heart rhythm disturbances during the vulnerable sleeping hours. What makes this especially concerning for seniors is that our body's ability to regulate blood sugar naturally diminishes with age. A spike and crash that might have been manageable at 40 becomes potentially dangerous at 70. The nighttime hours are already when we're most vulnerable to cardiac events. Adding blood sugar instability is like removing the safety net when we need it most. I experienced this myself after enjoying ice cream before bed several years ago. I woke up at 2 a.m. with my heart racing and a sense of inexplicable anxiety. My doctor confirmed what I suspected. My blood sugar had crashed, triggering a surge of adrenaline that jolted me awake and stressed my heart. If you crave something sweet before bed, there are safer options. My favorite recommendation is a small apple with a teaspoon of almond butter. The fiber in the apple slows down sugar absorption, while the small amount of healthy fat and protein in the almond butter helps stabilize your blood glucose through the night. Another good option is a 1/4 cup of berries with a tablespoon of plain Greek yogurt. The natural sweetness satisfies your craving without the dangerous spike and crash. For Raymond, switching to a small banana with a few walnut halves made all the difference. "I still get that sweet taste I crave, but I sleep through the night now, and my morning blood pressure is lower too," he reports. What's your typical evening sweet treat? Have you ever noticed feeling strange during the night after indulging? These connections can be life-saving once we recognize them. Alcoholic beverages. That relaxing glass of wine before bed might seem like the perfect way to wind down, but research shows it could be setting you up for a dangerous night. That nightcap you've enjoyed for years may be silently reducing the oxygen reaching your heart while you sleep. Howard, a 73-year-old retired accountant from Ohio, learned this lesson the hard way. "I've always enjoyed 2 glasses of red wine in the evening," he told me during a health consultation. I thought I was doing my heart a favor based on what I'd read about red wine's benefits. What Howard didn't realize was that while moderate wine consumption might have certain daytime benefits, the timing of his drinks was putting him at serious risk. A comprehensive sleep study revealed something alarming. Howard's oxygen levels dropped to dangerous levels dozens of times each hour after his evening wine ritual. This finding is backed by rigorous research from the Stanford Sleep Medicine Center, where specialists have documented that alcohol before bed reduces oxygen saturation in seniors by up to 15% during critical deep sleep stages. Dr. Rafael Pelayo, clinical professor at Stanford Sleep Medicine, explains that this oxygen reduction forces your heart to work significantly harder throughout the night, something particularly dangerous for those of us with age-related heart changes. The good news? There are delicious alternatives that can become your new evening ritual. Howard now enjoys tart cherry juice in the evening, which contains natural compounds that actually promote melatonin production, your body's sleep hormone. Another excellent option is chamomile tea with a touch of honey and lemon. Have you noticed any difference in how you feel in the morning after having alcohol versus nights when you abstain? That awareness can be your first step toward better sleep and heart health after 65. 6. Caffeinated foods and beverages. That afternoon, coffee or evening piece of chocolate might be affecting your heart at 3 a.m. in ways you'd never suspect. Even if caffeine doesn't seem to keep you awake anymore, its effects on your cardiovascular system continue long after you've fallen asleep. Meredith, a vibrant 70-year-old retired teacher from Washington State, discovered this connection after months of mysterious nighttime heart palpitations. "I would wake up around 2 a.m. with my heart racing," she explained. "It was frightening, and I couldn't figure out what was causing it." After consulting with her cardiologist, they identified an unexpected culprit: the dark chocolate she enjoyed each evening after dinner. The science behind this is eye-opening. Research from Harvard Medical School's sleep laboratory reveals that caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 7 hours in most adults, meaning that half the caffeine is still active in your bloodstream many hours later. Dr. Charles Cheisler, chief of sleep medicine at Brigham and Women's Hospital, explains that this lingering caffeine significantly impacts cardiovascular function during vulnerable sleep hours, even if you don't consciously feel it keeping you awake. After eliminating her evening chocolate, Meredith's nighttime heart rhythm normalized within just a week. "I had no idea something so small could impact my heart so dramatically," she shared. She now enjoys her dark chocolate as a mid-morning treat instead. "My personal recommendation for clients is to cut off all caffeine, including coffee, tea, chocolate, and certain medications, by 2 p.m. For particularly sensitive individuals, noon might be even better. If you crave something warm and comforting in the evening, try a naturally caffeine-free rooibos tea or a small banana, which contains natural compounds that actually promote muscle relaxation and healthy sleep." Do you enjoy chocolate or coffee in the afternoon or evening? The connection to your heart health might surprise you. 7. Spicy foods. That zesty dinner with hot sauce or those spicy tacos might be setting you up for a frightening middle-of-the-night episode. While spicy foods add wonderful flavor to our meals, timing matters, especially after 65. Patricia, a lively 68-year-old from Arizona, experienced what she thought was a heart attack at 2 a.m. after enjoying her favorite spicy tacos before bed. "I woke up with crushing chest pain and couldn't breathe," she recalled with emotion in her voice. "My husband called 911. We were both terrified." While her emergency turned out to be severe acid reflux rather than a heart attack, her doctor delivered a sobering warning. The inflammation from her late-night spicy meal could eventually trigger an actual cardiac event. Gastroenterologists from the National Institute of Aging have documented how spicy foods consumed before bedtime can create a double danger. First, they cause acid reflux that can mimic heart attack symptoms. But perhaps more concerning, they've discovered that the intense reflux can stimulate the vagus nerve, which connects your digestive system to your heart, potentially triggering actual cardiac rhythm disturbances. What makes this especially important for those of us over 65 is that our esophageal sphincter, the muscle that keeps stomach acid from flowing upward, naturally weakens with age. This makes us significantly more vulnerable to reflux, particularly when lying down soon after eating spicy foods. If you love flavor but want to sleep safely, try switching to aromatic herbs like basil, oregano, or thyme rather than hot peppers or cayenne. These provide wonderful taste dimensions without the inflammatory reaction. Patricia now follows what she calls her spice clock. No hot spices after 4 p.m. "I still get to enjoy the flavors I love," she says, "but I haven't had a single nighttime episode since making this one simple change." Have you experienced any discomfort after enjoying spicy foods in the evening? That awareness could prevent a frightening nighttime emergency. 8. High-fat fried foods. Those crispy fried foods might satisfy your cravings at dinner, but they're forcing your heart to work overtime while you sleep. The evening fried chicken, French fries, or even that occasional serving of onion rings could be setting you up for a midnight health crisis. Gregory, a remarkably fit 69-year-old from Texas with no previous heart issues, learned this connection the hard way. After enjoying his favorite fried chicken dinner, he woke at midnight with crushing chest pain. The heart attack came out of nowhere, he told me during his recovery. What Gregory didn't know was that the inflammatory response from his fried dinner had created the perfect conditions for a coronary event during his deepest sleep phase. Cardiac researchers at the Cleveland Clinic have documented exactly how this happens. Consuming fried foods before bed increases inflammatory markers by up to 25% during sleep hours, precisely when your body's natural anti-inflammatory defenses are at their lowest. Dr. Stephen Nissen, chairman of cardiovascular medicine at Cleveland Clinic, explains that this timing creates a dangerous window of vulnerability. What makes this especially concerning for those of us over 65 is that we've likely accumulated some arterial plaque simply through aging, even if our cholesterol levels are good. The inflammation from fried foods can make this otherwise stable plaque suddenly vulnerable during sleep. One approach I often suggest is using an air fryer, which can create that satisfying crunch with minimal oil. My husband was skeptical until I prepared air-fried zucchini chips seasoned with Parmesan and herbs. Now they're his favorite evening snack. Another option is oven baking with a light coating of olive oil and panko breadcrumbs for crunch. For Gregory, baked chicken with a crispy herb coating has replaced his fried favorite. Honestly, after adjusting for a few weeks, I don't even miss the fried version, he admits. And knowing I'm not setting myself up for another heart attack helps me sleep better too. Have you noticed any discomfort after enjoying fried foods for dinner? That awareness could quite literally save your life. Now you know the 8 foods that could be putting your heart at risk during sleep. Processed meats, high-sodium packaged snacks, processed cheese, sugary cereals and desserts, alcoholic beverages, caffeinated foods, spicy dishes, and high-fat fried foods. Remember that processed meats, food number 3, pose the most direct danger due to those harmful nitrates that can trigger nighttime heart attacks. The wonderful news is that you don't need to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Small, consistent changes make a tremendous difference. Maybe start by replacing that evening deli meat with fresh roasted chicken, or swapping your nightcap for soothing chamomile tea. Think about what matters most. Waking up healthy each morning to enjoy precious time with your family, pursuing your passions, and living your golden years to their fullest. Every smart choice you make tonight is an investment in tomorrow's moments. Which of these foods will you be removing from your evening routine? Share in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else make a life-saving change tonight. Remember, it's never too late to protect your heart and ensure many more beautiful mornings ahead.